232.207, Class 1A brake test, 1,000-mile inspection. A. Except as provided in 232.213, which covered extended haul trains, each train shall receive a Class 1A brake test performed by a qualified person at a location that is not more than 1,000 miles from the point where any car in the train last received a Class 1 or Class 1A brake test. The most restrictive car or block of cars in the train shall determine the location of the test. B. A Class 1A brake test of a train shall consist of the following tasks and requirements. 1. Brake pipe leakage shall not exceed 5 psi per minute, or airflow shall not exceed 60 cubic feet per minute, CFM. The brake pipe leakage test or airflow method test shall be conducted pursuant to the requirements contained in the Class 1 brake test, 232.205C1. 2. The inspector shall position him or herself, taking positions on each side of each car sometime during the inspection process, so as to be able to examine and observe the functioning of all moving parts of the brake system on each car in order to make the determinations and inspections required by this section. 3. The air brake system shall be charged to the pressure at which the train will be operated, and the pressure at the rear of the train shall be within 15 psi of the pressure at which the train will be operated, but not less than 75 psi, as indicated by an accurate gauge or end-of-train device at the rear end of the train. 4. The brakes on each car shall apply in response to a 20 psi brake pipe service reduction and shall remain applied until the release is initiated by the controlling locomotive. A car found with brakes that fail to apply or remain applied may be retested and remain in the train if the retest is conducted as prescribed in 232.205C4. Otherwise, the defective equipment may only be moved pursuant to provisions contained in 232.15 if applicable. 5. Brake rigging shall be properly secured and shall not bind or foul or otherwise adversely affect the operation of the brake system. And 6. All parts of the brake equipment shall be properly secured. C. A railroad shall designate the locations where Class 1A brake tests will be performed, and the railroad shall furnish to the Federal Railroad Administration upon request a description of each location designated. A railroad shall notify FRA's Associate Administrator for Safety in writing 30 days prior to any changes in the locations designated for such tests and inspections. 1. Failure to perform a Class 1A brake test on a train at a location designated pursuant to this paragraph constitutes a failure to perform a proper Class 1A brake test if the train is due for such a test at that location. 2. In the event of an emergency that alters normal train operations, such as a derailment or other unusual circumstances that adversely affect the safe operation of the train, the railroad is not required to provide prior written notification of a change in the location where a Class 1A brake test is performed to a location not on the railroad's list of designated locations for performing Class 1A brake tests, provided that the railroad notifies FRA's Associate Administrator for Safety and the pertinent FRA Regional Administrator within 24 hours after the designation has been changed and the reason for the change.